Hello again. Well, I've just been and seen the new Star Wars Clone Wars movie. Now, let me tell you how I went into this movie. I went in very dubious, with very much lowered expectations. We saw the trailer a little while ago and everyone went, wow, that looks pretty cool. And then, the movie started getting reviews and things like that, and it was almost universally panned across the board. You go on RottenTomatoes.com, the biggest movie review type website out there, very, very popular. And it's got like a 12% rating or something. People on there hate this movie with a vengeance. And I looked at some of the review summaries before I saw this movie. And I normally don't do that because I don't like to colour my expectations of a movie. I like to go in as fresh as possible to experience it on its own merits. But this time I didn't. I was a little bit worried about it. I'm thinking maybe George has done it again. He's treating us to a dumbed-down, simplistic, kiddie-eyed version of Star Wars that is, according to some reviewers, worse than The Phantom Menace. That's a big that's a big claim. That's a big claim, because Phantom Menace was fairly atrocious. But even in that awful abuse of the Star Wars universe, there were still bits that I liked. So I went into the Clone Wars with very much lowered expectations. I went in there expecting to dislike it, because so many of my movie reviewing peers out there hated it for all kinds of reasons. So the movie starts, and the music a little bit different take on the Star Wars theme, and it gets rolling, and I'm seeing all these things that people are complaining about, the stilted animation, the awful dialogue writing, the low content, high explosion quotas and all that sort of stuff. But as the movie kept going, I found myself less and less trying to pick flaws in it, and more just sitting back and enjoying it for what it is. Now, this is something a lot of reviewers don't seem to get. This movie is aimed at children, 12 and under probably. This is designed as a Saturday morning cartoon, has been written and designed as such, okay? It has been created especially for that market. It's not made for guys like me, guys who are as old as the first movie. Forget it. It's designed for kids. Watch it with that in mind. I enjoy Saturday morning cartoons. I have done all of my life since I was a kid, and they were designed for me all the way through. And this is basically an hour and a half long pilot for the soon to be released television series. Now, when you approach it with that in mind, you start actually enjoying it. It's not supposed to be really deep and clever and all that sort of stuff. It's just a simple, enjoyable Saturday morning cartoon. Now, the things I didn't like about it: there's a new Hutt called Zero the Hutt. Stupid name, even dumber character. This is the worst character since Jar Jar Binks. It is completely ridiculous. And I hope we never ever hear from him again. It was just mind-numbingly stupid. And things like the interactions between Anakin and his new Padawan learner are very predictable and ordinary and uninspired. Most of this movie is rather uninspired, really. And it's probably going to keep unfolding in that pattern, but what do you want? How many times I got to say it? It's designed for kids to enjoy. The other thing I didn't like is the battle droids. Now, in the prequels, episodes 1, 2, and 3, the battle droids were pretty annoying at times, okay? They were used as comedy relief when they shouldn't have been. These are droids specifically designed to be soldiers, okay? They're not supposed to make little quips and stupid, they're all about the killing, bang. That's what they were designed to be. But George Lucas decided to use them as comedy relief for whatever reason. Maybe he's just finally completely let go of his mind. But in this one, he takes it to a whole new level, and the battle droids are beyond irritating this time. Every line they utter, which is supposed to be lighthearted comedy relief, just clunks on the ground like you wouldn't believe. It just had me rolling my eyes going, oh, for fuck's sake. What the hell? The voice acting is adequate. That's all it is. The lines they're given to say are adequate. That's all it is. It is very simplistic, formulaic storytelling. And there's still way too much politics in there. Politics is boring, George Lucas. People like us and kids don't give a shit about politics. And he does remember that from time to time, and quite a lot of the movie is made up with just enormous action scenes and lots of explosions and lightsaber battles, and all that's kind of fun. And Obi-Wan Kenobi gets off a few little quirky lines that kind of make you smile. Anakin Skywalker is doing the best he can at being, broody and whatever. There's not much we can do at this point with Anakin. He's been established in the prequel movies as just an annoying little prick. He could have been so much more. His path, his tour to the dark side could have been an amazing story, but George just doesn't have the talent for it. So we're stuck with this, broody little cockwad who should have had his face punched in. But still, if you just take it on its merits as a cheesy little Saturday morning cartoon designed to entertain children, it is enjoyable. Particularly the second act in this movie is quite enjoyable. I found myself really, really getting into it. The third act kind of lets it down, and the movie, instead of going, first act establishing what's going on, the second act takes it to a new level and then crash, and then the third act goes, wah! No, the third act just goes and peters out at the end. Pretty crap writing. But it is still an enjoyable little Saturday morning cartoon. And I'm surprised to say I'm actually looking forward to the series. And like I said at the start of this, I went in expecting to hate it. I read some of the summaries of the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and all the things that people thought were wrong with it. They're all idiots! It has taught me one thing. This whole experience has taught me one important lesson. That's two. One important lesson. The reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes can generally be regarded as moronic movie snobs who won't judge a movie based on its own merits and instead base it on what they wanted it to be. Hey! If you're so good, why don't you start making movies instead of lying back and passing judgment on something people have made for a purpose to entertain children and have done a pretty good job of it. Children are going to eat this up. Children are going to love this. Children are going to go out and buy the toys, because that's basically what this is. It's an hour-and-a-half long toy commercial. And it's going to work. And it's going to piss all the hardcore Star Wars fans off. Unless, of course, you've got half a brain and realise it's not made for you. It's made for the kids. And people like me who realise that it can be enjoyed on several different levels. Okay? You want hardcore, nasty, brooding violence? Star Wars Force Unleashed comes out soon. Okay? A retard-strong maniac wannabe Sith going nuts on everything around him. That's where you want to be. Not with this cartoon made for kids. And who knows, maybe the live-action TV series that's in production at the moment is going to be that thing that addresses our need. People like me, grown-ups who grew up with Star Wars. Maybe that's our piece of the pie for the ongoing saga of this property. Or maybe George Lucas is a talentless maniac whose only real skill is being able to milk something until it is bone dry and then salting the earth so nothing will ever grow from it again. We'll find out. Some of the criticisms levelled at it are right, but they're way too harsh. Let's take the animation, for example. There is better animation out there. This is fully 3D, okay? There is better 3D animation from more than a decade back. The cartoons that pioneered primetime 3D animation, like Reboot, like Transformers Beast Wars, they both have much, much better animation than this does. And I expected more from Lucasfilms on that, but it's still not awful. It's acceptable, it gets the job done. It's not too distracting. Everybody moves a bit like a droid, which is good when you're watching the droids. Someone actually made that comment on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, sometimes animation is less than convincing. But you move past it. Unless you're a stuck-up pretentious movie snob who just can't get out of your own arse long enough to actually enjoy something. Final verdict on this. Don't go see it at the cinema. It's a waste of your money. Cinemas are expensive. You got the popcorn and the $15 bottles of Coke and look, it's not worth seeing it on the big screen. It's not that spectacular. You don't need to see it on a huge, 30-foot screen for it to be enjoyable. Catch it on DVD or catch it on TV, whatever they show it. You're not going to miss out on anything. But do catch it. But, I'm going to say this one more time. Watch it while keeping in mind the fact it is made to entertain kids. And you will enjoy it on that level. It has its flaws, but it's nowhere near as bad as Phantom Menace. Catch you next time, and try not to be a stuck-up-your-own-ass movie snob and just enjoy things.